Okay, for my first YouTube video, I will be talking to you guys about the 4 design principles of photography. The first one would be simplicity, the second is framing, the third is rule of thirds, and the fourth is diagonal balance. So I'm going to show you some pictures explaining each one in detail. Okay, this first picture is a picture of my bearded dragon Rex. It's a macro shot, so the background is very blurry and there's very little of the subject that is in focus. Basically what simplicity is it's all of your attention, all of the viewer's attention is focused on one thing. You don't have a lot of background things. There's not something going on in the picture that's going to distract you or the viewer from the one thing that you want them to see. And obviously the one thing that I'm trying to focus your attention on is Rex, which is the bearded dragon. The next principle I'm going to talk about is the framing. Framing is when you have something in the foreground, the middle ground, and the background. This is a picture of a bean field that I took right down the street from my house. But as you can see, in the foreground you have the beans. Make this a little bit bigger for you. You have the beans. You can see they're clearly in focus. You have the tree line, which is what is in your middle ground. And then you have your background, which is the sun and the clouds. Usually with framing, everything will be in focus. My f-stop, which if you don't know what an f-stop is, I'll tell you about that in a different video. But my f-stop isn't as large as it could be, so the background is a little blurry. But it's still framing. You still have something in foreground, middle ground, and background. And now we're going to move on to the last principle. The third principle I'm going to talk to you about is the rule of thirds. No, that was not on purpose. I just happened to say rule of thirds third. But rule of thirds basically is just to your horizon line. See how my horizon line is, it's a little crooked, but it's still less than a third of the entire picture, because a lot of times if you're new to photography, or even if you see a cool picture, but if the horizon line is right down the middle, it tends to cut your picture plane in half. And most of the time it doesn't look good. Sometimes you can pull it off if the picture is good enough, but usually you want to try and avoid that. You want to have your horizon line in the bottom third or the top third of your photograph. This one just happens to be in the bottom. Last but not least, we have diagonal balance. This is an edited picture that I took. It's actually 3 different pictures, but what we're going to be focusing on is the eye. And if you notice, the eye is diagonal. It goes to each corner. This is pretty much what diagonal balance is. You want to have some things in a diagonal sort of fashion. It doesn't have to be as obvious as this, because I mean this is pretty apparent. But any angles or anything that you can get in your photograph would be better than having straight edges that go across horizontally or vertically. It just gives your picture a little bit more dimension, a little bit more I don't know, it just makes it a little bit more unique and makes it a little bit more interesting. I'm going to finish my first video off with another one of my edited pictures. I did this in school. It's 3 pictures combined, and that's about all I'm going to tell you, but enjoy.
Yeah. Oh, you already know what we gonna do. Hey. Well, if you guessing it's me, you guessed correctly. I just stay with a stallion. You would swear I wasn't a question. I'ma hit her with that pipe.